There are moments in life when the weight of pain feels unbearable, moments when the world seems to close in, when your heart feels too heavy to carry, and when the future seems like nothing but a distant blur. We've all faced days like that, days when tears seem to come more easily than hope. But sometimes those very tears are not a sign of weakness. They are the beginning of a story you never thought you had the strength to write. This is the story of a young woman named Emily, and how her darkest tears became the path to her greatest triumph. Emily grew up in a small town in Ohio. She was the kind of girl who loved laughter, who filled rooms with energy, who had big dreams of becoming a teacher. People admired her kindness, but they never saw the hidden battles she carried inside. From the outside, she looked like she had it all together: grades, friends, a family that cared. But behind her smile, Emily often wrestled with a quiet, gnawing fear that she wasn't enough. Her father had left when she was young, and though her mother worked 2 jobs to hold the family together, Emily often felt a void that nothing seemed to fill. She told herself she had to be strong, that she had to hide her pain, that no one needed to see her struggle. But at night, when the house grew silent, Emily cried into her pillow, whispering to herself that maybe life would never really change. By the time she turned 18, she carried those doubts like chains. She went off to college, hopeful that a new chapter would erase the old wounds. But instead, the weight of responsibilities, the pressure to succeed, and the loneliness of being far from home only deepened her struggle. She began to withdraw. She attended fewer classes. Her once bright spirit dimmed. She still smiled when people looked, but her nights were filled with tears. There was one evening she would never forget. It was the middle of winter. Snow covered the sidewalks outside her dorm, and the world seemed colder than ever. Emily sat by her window, staring into the darkness, her chest heavy with thoughts she couldn't put into words. She felt broken, as if she had nothing left to give, and for the first time, she wondered if she even wanted to keep going. But then, something unexpected happened. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from her younger brother, still in high school back home. It was simple. "Em, I miss you. I'm proud of you. You're my hero." Emily read those words over and over again. Tears blurred her vision, but they weren't the same kind of tears as before. For the first time in a long time, she felt something stir inside her, a reminder that her life mattered, not just to her, but to someone else. That small message, sent without her brother even knowing the depth of her pain, became the spark that shifted everything. That night, Emily made a decision. She realized she could not continue to live trapped in silence. She needed to change. She needed to fight for herself the way her brother believed in her. It wasn't easy. In fact, it was the hardest choice she had ever made. But she promised herself that night that her tears would no longer be her end. They would be her beginning. The next morning, she walked into the campus counseling office. Her voice trembled as she spoke, but for the first time, she let someone see her pain. It was terrifying, but it was also freeing. She started therapy, began journaling her thoughts, and slowly, step by step, rebuilt the strength she thought she had lost. The journey wasn't instant. It wasn't smooth. There were setbacks, nights when old doubts crept back in, days when she wanted to give up. But every time she remembered her brother's words, she kept moving forward. With time, Emily found her confidence again. She reconnected with her passion for teaching, pouring her energy into studying and volunteering at local schools. She realized that helping children learn, guiding them to believe in themselves, was not just a career path, it was her calling. By the time she graduated, Emily was no longer the girl who cried herself to sleep each night. She had scars, yes, but she also had strength. Her pain had not vanished, but it had been transformed. Those tears had watered the soil of her resilience, and from them, something beautiful had grown. Years later, Emily stood in a classroom filled with children. She saw their eager eyes, their nervous smiles, their hidden struggles. She knew that some of them went home to difficult lives, that some of them cried silent tears just as she once had. And because of her journey, she was able to meet them with compassion, to remind them that they were enough, that they mattered, that their pain did not define their future. Emily's life had come full circle. What began as nights of despair had turned into mornings of purpose. From tears, she had found triumph. And this is the lesson I want you to take from her story. Pain is not the end. Tears are not a sign that you are broken beyond repair. They are a sign that you feel, that you care, that your soul is still alive. And if you choose, those tears can become the very thing that transforms you. Every triumph begins with a decision, the decision to keep going even when it hurts, the decision to reach out even when your voice shakes, the decision to believe that your life has meaning even when you can't see it clearly yet. Emily's turning point came with a single message from her brother. For you, it may come in another form, a kind word from a stranger, a quiet thought in the middle of the night, or maybe even this story itself. But when it comes, do not ignore it. Let it remind you that you are not done, that you are not alone, and that your tears can be the beginning of your triumph. So tonight, if you feel heavy, if you feel like the world is too much, remember this: you are stronger than you think. You have survived every single day you thought you couldn't. You are still here. And as long as you are still here, your story is not over. From tears to triumph, that is the path. And it is a path you are capable of walking, step by step, breath by breath, choice by choice. Do not give up on yourself. Do not surrender your story to despair. Instead, let your tears water the roots of your resilience, and let your life bloom into something greater than you ever imagined. Because one day, when you look back, you will see what Emily saw, that the very moments that broke you were the ones that built you, that the tears you cried were not wasted. They were preparing you for your triumph. And when that triumph comes, you will not only rise for yourself, you will rise for everyone who looks to you for hope. Just as Emily became a light for her students, you too can become a light for someone else. That is the power of your story. That is the power of turning tears into triumph.